Hi, my name is Deborah Henry, and I'm the co-founder of Fuji School, which is an education center for refugee children living in Malaysia. It is said that education is the greatest gift you can give someone, and I believe this is so true because what you're doing is you're giving people all the tools, you're empowering them to really be able to go forth in life and make the right decisions, right informed decisions for themselves. Because if we teach a child, we can change a life.
Hi, my name is Gwen Ye, and I'm here today to talk about Teach for Malaysia, which is a non-profit organization that I feel very strongly about. Before joining that organization as an intern, I was actually in the process of building an app called Advenue. Advenue's goal was to bring together teachers to collaborate, curate, and connect over innovative ideas and teaching materials. But in the process of building that app, I realized that I was stuck in my own little tech bubble, and I didn't realize how important human connection and physical interaction was for the teachers. What they lacked in reality was support and connection, and I could not give that to them with an app. So, by joining Teach for Malaysia as an intern, I learned so much about the reality of education in Malaysia. If we want to solve this problem, we as people need to go down to that grassroots level and truly understand the plight of these teachers, the plight of these students and their communities. Because otherwise, we will not be able to truly understand their challenges and come up with the proper solutions for them. My dream for Malaysia echoes Teach for Malaysia's vision, which is that all children, regardless of their race, gender or creed, deserve an education, an excellent education, and that is my dream for Malaysia.
Hi, my name is Amelia Goa. I'm from the International Multilateral Partnership Against Cyber Threats, and my topic at this segment was on child online protection. Child Online Protection is an international collaborative network for action that involves a lot of partners from the industry, civil society, and international organizations to provide best practices and guidelines for children online. What we seek to do with the Child Online Protection Initiative is to empower children to become digital responsible citizens, and also to empower caregivers, parents, policymakers to have the same practices to encourage the digital innovation and entrepreneurship of children online. So what we want to see from the Child Online Protection Initiative is that parents, educators, children themselves become agents of change as we see the beneficial uses of technology and how it can be impacted in different societies to gain traction in education, to gain traction in employment, literacy, and education. We want to see a culture where cybersecurity is taken from one level to another, and it's impacted within each community to make sure that each community is impacted in technology use. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Rani Vimal. I'm the co-founder of My Mobile University. It's a global initiative to impact lives through education. It's an initiative where we actually want to encourage people to empower themselves through education, increase the human capital development of a society, and also to encourage lifelong learning. Today's Activate talk was actually how education can actually empower young children, girls and women, and how education will actually make an impact and reduce poverty, at the same time give them an opportunity in life. So we are very proud to be part of this talk at Activate Talks KL for UNICEF Malaysia. This is Rani Wemel.
Hey, so I'm Shermin.
And this is Unin.
And we're from Code Equality. It's an initiative to get more young Malaysians and students to learn how to code. So we just talked about how coding is important. Why is it that we should get more girls to code? And how coding is for everyone, not just girls.
Yeah. And from our experience actually coaching females in coding, we noticed that they are actually very smart. They're doing equally well as guys, and they are very interested in learning coding. So we do actually encourage more females to get into coding.
Yep, coding for everyone.
Coding for everyone.
So when we think about ICT or technology, we often talk about just using it, not creating it. It's becoming increasingly important for us to not just use but also create technology. And we would like to empower everyone, including girls, to create technology that we can all use.
My name is Wavina Belmonte. I'm the UNICEF representative here in Malaysia. Before we get started, I just wanted to share a few, I hope, useful details and a bit of background. First of all, Activate Talks are part of a global series initiated this year by UNICEF to mark the 25th anniversary of the Convention on the Rights of the Child. As part of that, UNICEF has dedicated 2014 as the year of innovation for children. Why innovation? Because innovation is seen as vital to delivering better, faster results for children, no matter who those children are, no matter where those children might be. We can ask Sham to give us the slide. So the best Activate Talks that have happened so far around the world are the ones that are really inclusive, very dynamic, when people in the audience get to participate, and when people join us in the discussion on Twitter, which is why I was making the Twitter comment earlier. So we strongly encourage you to use the hashtags for this session, UNICEF Activate, and hashtag UNICEF, the number 4, girls, Act for Girls. We'll take questions from the floor and Twitter to keep the discussion lively. So this Activate talk will explore what happens when one of the most transformative technologies in the world, ICT, meets one of the most transformational forces in the world, education, and unleashes the potential of one of the world's most untapped resources, girls and women. And what's at stake when we don't? For years, we've known about the gender gap in education. Even with far more girls in school than ever before globally, boys still outnumber girls. And as is often the case, when a girl is left out in one area, she's often left out in others as well. And that's true when it comes to the digital world. So to get us started, I'm going to invite, this being International Literacy Day, I'm going to invite Venus Jennings. Oh, I thought, oh my goodness. Come on up, Venus. Venus works as a media and society program specialist at UNESCO, and she's going to help us understand and address the issue of this double digital divide affecting girls and their access to the internet and mobile technology. Thanks.
Thank you. It's a major undertaking. Now, this morning I gave a presentation, and I'm going to repeat what I said. I had a paragraph that dates back to the year 2012, when 58 million children of primary school age and another 63 million children of lower secondary school age were still out of school, and many of them are girls. In fact, throughout the world, with the exception of the Caribbean region, the majority are likely to be girls who take a shortcut into adult life, become mothers or family caretakers, and therefore follow a different path that leads them away from the luxury of learning and the luxury of discovering science and technology, of which media is a great part. So in earlier sessions, we underlined that basic literacy is essential for boys and girls for many different reasons, not only to enable them to get closer to the digital world, but also to facilitate their access to media and information literacy, which is fast becoming a prerequisite for efficient learning and knowledge management. There are socialization reasons for why digital technology is looked upon favorably, particularly for girls and women. UNESCO recognizes that new media offer a public space that can facilitate socialization for girls and women, particularly those who do not get the opportunity to disengage from their daily responsibilities or are not allowed to leave the premises of their homes for cultural reasons or religious reasons. Digital technology does not require that they break those cultural norms. They are able to follow the values that they cultivate, but at the same time be participant to citizenship through digital technology. So the digital age has an empowering impact on girls and women, and including and allows their socialization, including through virtually moderated public platforms and social media. And it's nice to see the Twitter account up there. I tried to get my own Twitter account to work, but I'm so bad at using it. I couldn't really know. I didn't really know what to do. So I have some discovery to follow myself. But there's many things need to be done to allow girls the full benefits of both traditional media and digital technology. And what has happened in traditional media should be avoided in the digital world. And by this, I mean I'm pointing out to the fact that analog broadcast technology has been so controlled and controllable that many of the safety measures that could have been put in place at a time when they should have been were not put in place, and created a void that now needs to be bridged, particularly as convergence is taking great strides and presenting us with challenges that are knocking on individual homes. For example, in the media world, I want to give you some examples of the gender relations and gender-sensitive information that is directly related to media. In the media world, there are more male radio professionals, and I take radio as an example because I've recently done a study on it. There are more male radio professionals than their female counterparts. And this is true, actually, for all broadcast media. And this means that not enough female perspectives are reflected in media content. It's not an absolute truth, but it is a truth. That the more male-dominated media is, in terms of content production, the less opportunity girls and women will have in sharing how they visualize the world and how they wish to proceed with their expectations. It also means that media content tends to be extremely stereotyped, and female representations tend to be more negatively portrayed. Now, to obtain gender equality and gender balance does not necessarily mean get rid of all the men and engage all the women. That is not what I'm saying at all. But find an equilibrium, meaning engage both men and women, girls and boys, in the process of media and content production. The presence of female radio professionals facilitates balanced and representative perspective, and that they help to shape sociocultural patterns and norms through diversified programming. So by having a balanced set of male and female professionals in the media profession, media content would most likely be more balanced in terms of portrayal, and listeners' needs, including that of girls and boys, as well as women and men, can be better addressed. So I could give you very many more examples, but considering that today is International Literacy Day, I just wanted to bring together some facts that that put Literacy Day, International Literacy Day, into the perspective of media development, and particularly children's media development. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Venus. We've got a really illustrious group of presenters, and what we're going to do is have 3 presentations and then open it up for questions and answers, and then go on to the other presentations, just so that we can mix it up a little bit and get you involved. So our next panelists are a dynamic duo. I'm really excited that they're here with us today. Woon Min and Sher Min are also concerned about the double digital divide and are doing something fascinating about it with their organization Code Equality. They get especially girls, especially underprivileged girls, regardless of where they are, in rural or urban settings, to code. Can I invite you up to the stage and take it away?
Hi everyone, how's everyone doing? Good, awesome. So hi, my name is Sherman, and this is
Unmen.
and today we're going to talk to you about how coding can be a very empowering thing, and why everyone should learn how to code, especially girls. Oh, sorry, pressing the wrong button. So just a quick introduction. We are the two halves of Code Equality. It's a homegrown initiative, non-profit, to introduce computer science and coding to young students in Malaysia. We've done it with some of the things that we've done are coding classes, talks, and company visits, but it's mostly been coding classes, teaching students to code. So why coding? Why should everyone learn how to code? Why is it so important? So if you don't know already, coding is what enables us to create software, to create apps, to create websites. All the technology that we use is written with code. And I'm preaching to the choir, but every technology is such a huge part of our lives, our daily lives, and it's becoming increasingly important not to just use technology, but also be able to create technology, to improve on it. So, and the best thing about coding is that everyone can code. All you need is a laptop, some basic math skills, problem solving, logical thinking. Everyone, especially girls. So Susan, Senior Vice President at Google, says, from phones to cars to medicine, technology touches every part of our lives. If you can create technology, you can change the world. So I'm going to pass on to women to talk about why the focus on girls, especially girls in coding.
So last weekend, one of the female participants of one of our workshops actually asked me this question here. So, are girls naturally wired to not be good coders? And this question really, really shocked me because it indicated that this lady is doubtful that she can be as good a coder compared to a guy. It might actually come as a surprise to a lot of you that one of the most important person who pioneered and laid the foundation of the modern computer science is actually a lady called Grace Hopper. And she's the one who led the development of COBOL, one of the first modern programming languages, as well as written the first compiler of a coding language. Both of these are very, very important milestones in computer science, and it's done by a lady. And just a curious fact, fun fact, the word bug was actually coined by Grace Hopper as well because she literally plucked a moth out of her computer because the computer was not working and she found this moth and therefore the word bug. And you now hear it debugging. Just a fun fact. So this is actually a Google doodle that is done, I think, last year to honor her. You see that there's actually a moth at the end that represented this moth that was found in her notebook. So Grace Hopper, amazing lady, one of the pioneers of computer science. Again, this lady here, I'm pretty sure you're very familiar with her as well, Marissa Mayer, Yahoo president and CEO, bachelor's and master's degree in computer science from Stanford University in artificial intelligence, and Google's first female coder. She rose through the ranks and became a vice president at Google, one of the best IT tech company, software company in the world. So we have two very, very smart lady. I was wanting to say young, but one is already old. But two very, very smart lady who are very, very good in computer science and have proven that they can be as good as guy in computer science. So just want to again drive across that point that girls can be as good. So this is the results from BEBRAS. It's an international computational thinking competition. And you see that this results indicates that both guys and girls actually have very similar results when it comes to this competition. So again, boys and girls can perform equally well in computer science. But why then do we see such a strong representation of female in computer science? If you look at these slides here, this is taken from the website. So Facebook only have 15% of girls in technology role, like coding, programming.
eBay has 24%. The rest are between 15 to 24%, around 17, 20%. So all these big companies, big software engineering companies in the world have very, very few ladies in the technology force. Why is that so? I mean, given that we have proven that ladies can just be as smart, we have Grace Hopper, we have Marissa Mayer, very smart ladies, but very few ladies in computer science. Are girls just not interested to learn coding? Well, so we were analyzing the data coming from our workshops, and we noticed that 83% of the signups at our coding workshops are male. And even most of the people who like our Code Equality Facebook are also male. Very sad. But over the past weekend, we have just proven that ladies can just, in fact, be as interested to learn coding as long as we provide them the right motivation, the right communication, and the right environment. So I'm going to pass this back to Shermin, who will be talking about this event that we just did.
Okay, so just last Saturday, Code Equality co-organized this event called Reels Girls KL. It's the first Reels Girls in Malaysia. And it's a coding workshop to teach women the tools and technology to build their own web applications. We had 45 girls, 32 mentors, and lots of fun. So even from the signups alone, we had 225 signups of people aged from 13 to 57 years old, and most of them are actually non-technical. So we found this kind of interesting, like, hey, there's actually a lot of women out there who want to learn how to code, despite what we thought from our previous workshops. And in fact, 80% of the people that signed up for our workshops are girls. And this is like a huge flip from regular coding workshops. So it just shows that given the right sort of event and right way of presenting it to them, like, girls do want to code. You provide the right comfortable sort of environment. So yeah, girls are interested. And we believe that the key is to start young and to provide the right kind of environment and encouragement. It's very important. So here are some young Reels girls at work, 13 to 14-year-olds from SMK Puchong, a Teach for Malaysia school. And why start young? It's because we realized that girl participation drops off after the age of 12. And this can be due to a variety of reasons: intimidation, and the fact that you're going to be maybe just 2 girls out of a class of 20. It can be very scary. So if you're going to do it, we should start young. Ages 7 to 12 is ideal. We get to beat the stereotypes earlier on. We get to make coding a very visible career option. Like, how often do we hear a kid say, when I grow up, I want to be a software developer? It's always doctors, teachers, because that's the people that they see. So when you introduce coding to them at an early age, it becomes a very viable option. And that's how we get more girls into coding, to increase representation of women in tech. So everyone should learn how to code, especially the girls. And that's all we have for you today. Here's our contact details if you would like to find out more about the work that we do. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I said they were a dynamic duo, right? I'm going to invite another inspiring speaker to the stage. Rani Wemmel has developed an app called My Mobile University. It enables anyone with interest and a connection to internet or a mobile device to access courses at universities, at secondary school, and primary level. Thanks for being with us. Over to you.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. And thank you so much for giving me this opportunity, UNICEF Malaysia. And let me start with my mobile university. I have lots of slides, but I only have 5 minutes, so bear with me. So this is my presentation. It's about empowering girls and women through education and ICT. We founded My Mobile University last year as a global initiative, but we have been pioneering mobile learning since 2004. So we are like 10 years into mobile learning. And our goal is actually to empower millions of girls and women through education and technology to advance them through economic opportunity. And that means to empower them with education, human capital development, encourage lifelong learning. These are the problems that happen not only in developing countries but also developed countries. The cost of higher education, student debts rising, companies saying that they don't have caliber staffs, and with globalization, we all have to be competitive. And a recent study by Telefonica, 18 to 30 years old, people, they all said that technology and education will help to bring them out of poverty, right? So it all starts with one girl. And by them actually not having that opportunity, countries tend to lose out a lot, right? And we have, like in Ethiopia, in Nigeria, in India, you can see that the last one is actually India, where a girl who doesn't have the opportunity to work loses out 100,000 US dollars in revenue. So can you imagine the country's loss in income? And this is the big picture. So at the end of the day, by empowering women, we actually make countries richer, and women actually help to make, decrease poverty. Yeah, we can wipe away poverty. So the good news is, when we give them education, we actually help them to get better health, understand their rights, and also serve the transformed economy. But there are challenges. There are technology barriers, there's geographical barriers, there's students dropping out, and there's not enough relevant content as well, right? So in education, we must look at 3 different areas. We have to teach them their rights, we have to give them the skills necessary to join the labor force, or give them entrepreneurial skills to start their business, and also health education so that they can protect themselves and their children. Oh, sorry. So My Mobile University is a global initiative that we started last year to actually attend to all these needs. Yeah, it's a free learning platform. It's mobile and web-based. It's 24/7. As long as you have an internet-connected device, you can access the content anywhere, anytime. I will quickly go through all the channels that we have, all right? We have universities and colleges channel where you can upskill yourself. We have computing and ICT, and you can start coding. Even young children can use this to learn coding. So my channel can support your work as well. And then we have medical, we have nursing, we have professional and business, we have career development and vocational, more than 300 vocational courses. We learn English in a fun way because English is a global language now. We have teachers channel to empower teachers so that they get better content for students. We have youth channels. We have children's channel, so you can story tell, nursery rhymes, ABCs 1 to 3. So even anybody who had not had the opportunity to learn can now go back and use these younger children's channel to educate themselves and move up, right? Then we have lifestyle and life skills, and you can go here and you can learn about life hacking, yoga, cooking, all kinds of things. And we have global health channel. Content here is actually given to me by an NGO in Hong Kong in 64 different languages, covering mother-child nutrition, polio, HIV, everything, yeah? And we have motivation because we all need motivation. Without motivation, sometimes the day can be really, really sad. So this channel is to cheer you up. Then we have hobbies, because nowadays hobbies is a unique word. It's no more a common word. During my time, we had lots of hobbies. But today when you ask anybody, they say surfing the internet. And I don't think so that that's a hobby, yeah? So go and get fun out of something that you like. Maybe music, drawing, cooking, gardening, yeah? Then we have global newspapers. All countries you can go and read. Global radio, because you need knowledge to have conversations, right? So you can go and get there. We have mobile apps. We also have apps for special people who are disabled. They can also download and, help themselves to learning materials. We have study and work tools area where we have dictionary, translator, calculator, whatever that you need that will help you in your learning. We have books, e-books, audiobooks, more than 1 million ebooks. So please go and check it out. We have financial literacy, learning a language, wellness and fitness, right? And our latest channel coming up will be women and girl child empowerment. Now that's very quickly about all the channels, and all the content here is actually aggregated from world-leading universities, organizations, and NGOs who have put free content on the internet. So what I've done is I've made it an easy platform for people to access learning, right? So there's more than 20 channels. Oops, again. So we are looking at certification in the future, but currently certification is offered by the relevant universities in the university channels, right? So more so is like self-learning or just on-time learning. Now, how we sustain ourselves is we partner government agencies or NGOs or companies to help us with, we curate content for them and they actually pay us. So far it has been a self-funded initiative. So now we are looking at government agencies, NGOs to support us. So we have this NGO KYUSA in Uganda who is using this to help children because their school dropouts are very high, and they use this to teach them various skills so that they become employable. Then we have India CSR, who actually works with me to transform communities, women and girl child empowerment, health and nutrition, and workplace education. And this is the recent partnership I did with the World Assembly of Youth to empower youth. And the most recent is with Bhakti Mind for people with disability. We just did it 2 weeks ago, where we are creating a channel for them. And the wonderful part is one of the participants from there actually called me and said that through my mobile university, she learned how to do a YouTube video. Yeah, so that was really touching. So in one platform, you have everything from learning to digital literacy to language skill, and it will help you to give a positive impact to the community, to the workplace, and to society. And economically empowered girls can stop poverty before it starts. Don't you agree? Yes. The great news is now we have the app. So if you don't have a computer, you can download it as long as you have an Android or an Apple device. You just have to type My Mobile Uni. And mobile and web-based learning is a green initiative, right? No paper, no traveling, no carbon emission, right? So that's the end of my talk. I have a video, which is very short, but if time permits, you can play. Thank you. I'm really sorry I had to shoot through the, but if you have any questions, I'm here later. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That was excellent. Excellent presentations. Thank you for the video. Venus, do you want to come up? We're going to go into question answers. In case there are any from the audience for any of the speakers. Any questions? Yes, the gentleman at the back.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Abdul Muiz from Malaysia. I actually come from the Transformative University, but I'm representing my society's about this science. I'm so interested with, my mobile university. So one question is, what you expected, madam, from this my mobile university? How my mobile university can change the world in next years? That's all. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Abdul Moyes, is it? Yes. Basically, our vision is to empower the world with education, because with education, they will have the necessary skills to actually move forward. And how we can all help to achieve this is, since you know about My Mobile Uni, you can actually share with people. And in this way, we will impact lives through education together. And the other thing is, like, if you have a website that you go to regularly and you think that it will help other people, you can actually, when you log on to My Mobile Uni, you can share knowledge. And when you share a website, your name is actually introduced by so-and-so. We recognize your effort to help build the content bank here. So that's how we believe that, you know, we need people to actually help us to shout out, because no use we have a good product and nobody knows about it. And being self-funded, we really don't have money for marketing. So all our subscribers so far is through word of mouth. Everybody who has used it and who liked it has shared. So whatever that you can help me to spread the word will also help. And together we can impact lives together. Thank you.
I'm going to remind people in the room that for those who are active Twitter users, the hashtag for this event is UNICEF Activate and hashtag Act for Girls. Any other questions from the room?
Here.
Hi.
Yeah. Hi.
The gentleman standing up. Okay.
Yep. My name is Yonglin. Yep. I have a question for Rani. Yep. In these days of technologies and the modern age, where all of us trying to solve problems with technologies, and one of the most important substance is the internet connections. While we all agree that one of the problems that cause the girl problem is poverty, and most of the time they do not have access to internet and don't even have a phone. And how is the university has can help them in terms of bridging the gap between finding a balance between internet connection and so education. I mean that is the most important for them to access to information and to change their life. Right. Thank you.
Thank you. Fong Li, right?
Yong Lin.
Yong Li, sorry.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Actually, we did think about all of that, but there's also this fact out there in the internet that says there are more people with mobile phones than toilets in the world. So, and it's true that mobile phone actually has reached out to very, very rural areas, but again, not taking that statistics into account, what we have done is we work with NGOs and community centers. So we have like ambassadors on our website. Anybody can become an ambassador, and they work in their local community. So they have the infrastructure, the internet, the devices, and so people who don't have access to phone or internet, they can always come to the community center, and the facilitators can help them. Yeah, but until then, but chances are many of them have mobile phones. They consider mobile phone a necessity these days. Yeah, thank you.
Venus, did you want to add something on this question?
I could say something very quickly. The mobile network penetration throughout the world is extremely high, and some figures were shown by Martin Hadlow in the session that we had just before this one. It exceeds the number of internet users in Europe, the US, and throughout the world. If I remember correctly, it was 46 billion against something that was like 20 billion or something like that. So that technology is there, and organizations like UNESCO are making tremendous effort to try and make mobile beneficial and profitable for girls. And there are many pilot activities that are currently going on, engaging not only girls, mind you, but young people in general, in creating applications that will then generate a business for them. All of that information you can find on the internet. It's just impossible to move with all the information. I don't have handouts to give out, but I just wanted to share that with you.
Anyone else from the floor? If you'll allow me one question to code equality. How did you get started? How did you sort of defy the stereotype and get started in code?
Do you want to do it? Well, it was just because we were frustrated by the lack of opportunities for young children and also students to learn coding in Malaysia. A lot of people who are in tech right now learn about it either by chance or through friends or family. It's not institutionalized, it's not taught in school, so we were like, hey, why not?
And maybe just to add a word, because we also noticed that there are some opportunities to learn coding out there, but they tend to be very expensive. There could easily be a few hundreds or a few thousand ringgit. So it's definitely not accessible to the common people, especially a lot of students, as well as those coming from more underprivileged background. So we aim to be, the reason why we're called Code Equality is because we really want to provide equal access of learning coding to everyone.
Great, thank you very much. I'll let you think a little bit about the earlier presentations while I invite our next speaker. Also dynamic, also a fascinating subject and inspiring. This is a solution-driven panel. Gwen Yi is an entrepreneur, and she's going to talk to us about her journey, which she calls a journey through the education system. I'll let her fill in the blanks. Gwen.
Thanks for coming out, everyone. I am a girl, and I am a student. And this is the story of how I tried to take on the education system in Malaysia. I started out in a bubble. My high school was one of the top private schools in Malaysia, but we had limited exposure to the outside world. When I was 13, I had my first unfavorable encounter with an educator. My science teacher was a haggard old man with a monotonous voice and a vicious tongue. "You are all stupid," he would tell us every day. "You will never make it in a laboratory." His lessons never challenged our thinking, only our self-esteem. Suffice to say, I lost all interest in the sciences that day. Fast forward 6 years, and I was starting to regret my decision. The startup scene in Malaysia was in full swing, in which 90% of the players were male, and almost 100% of them owned technology companies. After seeing so many girls in programming, I was inspired to start my own venture. So despite being discouraged in high school, I pushed forward, using the internet to acquire basic knowledge of coding, design, user interface, and mobile technology. I am very blessed that I had that opportunity to educate myself on ICT using ICT. Through my various involvements in the startup ecosystem, I stumbled across an education dialogue organized by the Global Peace Foundation of Malaysia. I was reminded of my own encounter with a science teacher when I was 13, and so I skipped class just to attend this so that I can gain a better understanding of the education system. That day, there were stakeholders from every spectrum of the system, from the Ministry of the Education, school principals, NGOs, even corporates. The insights there blew my mind, but one stuck with me. If we are ever going to make a change, we need to engage our teachers at the grassroots level. It didn't matter how good the policies were at the top if the teachers were not giving sufficient support to implement them on the ground. So I decided to do something about it. Using the knowledge I had gained from the internet, I started to build my idea. Advenue, that's what I'd call it, would be an avenue for teachers to connect, collaborate, and curate innovative teaching ideas and best practices for the classroom. Armed with this information, my team and I set out to participate in as many hackathons as we could. In our latest one, we were told that we had the best pitch, and yet we didn't win. I'll never forget what the judge said to me that day. The education system is too hard to change. So I guess it was a blessing in disguise when I was accepted for an internship at Teach for Malaysia, one of an independent non-profit organization that already had one foot in our education system. Teach for Malaysia aims to place the smartest, brightest graduates from top colleges, called fellows, in high-need schools across Malaysia. The ranking of these schools were determined by the Ministry of Education, and it was ranked on a school performance index, in which the best schools were ranked number 1, and the worst schools were ranked 4 to 6. TFM only targets schools ranked 4 to 6, so that the effect of the fellows can be twofold. One, that they would change the students' lives with their fresh ideas and enthusiasm. And two, so that they would be exposed to education inequity in the flesh, so that they will have more inclination to do something in the long run. I myself had the opportunity to visit one of these high-need schools over the course of my internship. SMK Pulau Ketam was also a bubble, located just off the coast of Port Klang. But the 15-year-olds there could not read or write. They could not even pronounce the words he or said. On the wall, there was a piece of paper that read 55% passing mark for PMR. In my high school, you were laughed at if you did not get straight A's. The teachers there had it rough. The school was non-halal, so that the Muslim teachers had to commute back home every day just to cook lunch for themselves. The students threw their books at the teachers and talked back at them. Nobody was interested in learning. Yet the teachers persisted each day, reaching out to the students and the communities around them. Our TFM fellow there even asked my friends from the city to head over to beautify the classroom there over the weekend. Where else can you see this kind of dedication from a teacher towards his students? That was the biggest wake-up call of my life. I realized that good schools can have bad teachers, and bad schools can have good teachers. The gray area is so big and vast that if we are not careful, we might just drown in it. I was so caught up in my little urban tech bubble, thinking that an app can solve all these teachers' problems, when in reality, the issue ran so much deeper than that. I now understand that what the judge meant by the education system is too hard to change. Not because the problem was so impossible to solve, but because too little people are trying to solve it. Malaysia is going through a revolution. Organizations like Teach for Malaysia, Khazanah Sleep Ed, and YTL's Frog Asia are utilizing all the resources they have to make a difference. So go on, reach out, support them. TFM's vision ultimately rings loud and clear. It shouldn't matter where you come from or which school you go to. It shouldn't even matter whether you are a boy or a girl. All children deserve the right to an excellent education. So here I stand before you, a girl, a student, but most of all, an education activist. What are you going to do? Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you very, very much. Inspiring. It's not only that all boys and girls deserve an education, they have the right to one. Yeah. So Deborah Henry is our next can-do panelist, and she's from the Fuji School. Come on up, Deborah. Deborah does fascinating work with a group that is marginalized and left out, refugees.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm going to get straight into it, given our 5-minute time mark. I represent Fuji School here today. I co-founded the school 5.5 years ago with my university friend. It's a school based in Malaysia, yes, about not too far from where we're standing, actually, 20 minutes. And we provide education to Somali refugees living in this country. Just 2 weeks ago, I conducted a workshop with the older teenage girls at Fuji School. It was about personal development. And we were talking about self-awareness, values, principles. I was throwing questions at them such as, who am I? What makes me happy? And I was encouraging them to think outside of the box and to question, do we even need to have a box to begin with? When one of the girls spoke up saying, in the Somali community, women don't go to university. They don't have these kind of dreams. Gender discrimination does exist in the Somali community. Parents do not see the value in sending their children to school past a certain age, because we all know that girls equals marriage and children. And boys, well, of course, boys are boys, so they deserve a lot more. So now let's take it back to Fuji School. We are not a normal school. We have limited funding and resources. We have underqualified or unqualified teachers. And because we also tap into the refugee community, we have people working for us who have absolutely no qualification. The question is, how do we offer our students a quality education? Something that really prepares them academically, mentally, and teaches them practical skills to function and to succeed in the real world. This is when we found that ICT could play a very important and crucial role. So I'm going to highlight 3 initiatives that we have at the school, just because we have time restrictions, and I'll talk very briefly about all of them. The first one is Scholastic. They came to us with a interactive whiteboard system where you could learn English as a second language, and it was targeted at kindergarten to early primary ages. So as we all know, the challenge of teaching young children 4 to 8 years old, it's very difficult, and the foundation period is crucial as well. So we knew it was important to teach the right way. They have to learn the right stuff the right way, right from the very beginning. And as I said earlier, we have insufficient, limited resources and teachers. So what we found by using the interactive whiteboard, it was developing excellent hand-eye coordination. The little children would run up, play around with the interactive whiteboard, develop motor skills, in-class cooperation and discipline in a very fun way. And of course, as we all know, when you learn English as a second language, we pick up really bad accents and mispronunciation, and that's really bad because then you're not really learning the language very well. So to overcome this, we had the wonderful neutral accent of the computer pronouncing words like apple, bat, car, ball, dog, So the young students were learning English very well, not mispronounced words. And this also enabled us to basically hurdle over challenges that we were facing because of our teacher quality. And in this setting, we found that our teachers, a lot of them actually student teachers, they're Somali students who actually help teach. Our teachers became facilitators, so they were not supporting the kids 100%. And we found that our students were learning because it was learning in a fun environment, maximum benefit, and we were getting the foundation right. So that's the first one, Scholastic. The second initiative that we have at the school is called Inspire. It's a student-run initiative, and it's basically public speaking program using online resources to inspire and to motivate each other. Now, the challenge we find, especially with the females at our school, is they lack confidence, they're extremely shy, they have no confidence in their abilities, in who they are, and they don't know how to express themselves. And we found this was because they felt that what they had to say was not important, had no value, no one really wanted to hear their opinion. Why was that? Because education for girls is an uphill battle. They're fighting against stigmas in the community. Their parents don't give them support. Their parents and the community have no expectations of them, and in turn, they have no expectations of themselves. So Inspire encourages the creation of support groups to encourage the girls, to encourage them, to motivate them, and to get them to push each other forward so they can step out and step upwards. And it also pushed them to answer difficult questions. It also pushed them to face difficult situations that they're in. And what we do during these Inspire workshops, we've actually just started this, because with the refugee situation in Malaysia, a lot of them get resettled to Canada, to America. So there's a lot of kids they're friends with here for a couple of years and then they get moved on. So part of the Inspire workshops, we link up with resettled students all over the world, and we have Skype chats, Skype conversations. They get to share about their new lives in their resettled countries, and it allows for continuity in friendships, and it also really helps because with the refugee situation in Malaysia, a huge part of learning comes, a huge part to actually them not learning is motivation and inspiration and hope. So we realized that by ensuring our children were motivated, were inspired, and had hope and could dream for the future, that would mean that they would come to school, that they would actually want to learn. So keeping self-esteem and confidence levels high is crucial to learning in this situation. And the final initiative I want to talk about is Catch Up, using online tools to enable fast and targeted learning, plus our students get certified. The challenge in refugee schools, most of our schools in Malaysia, is that we can teach them, they can have great teachers, they can be excellent students, but they have no paper qualifications. We're not accredited, we can't give them certification, so when they leave Malaysia, they have no papers in hand. And the solution with this was when we offer suitable MOOC courses, which are free online courses, so two things, they're free, yay, we don't have to raise funds for it, and B, they're online. All of our students have access to these courses, and should our students get resettled midway, they can actually complete these courses in their resettled country. So a huge plus for us there. So they get certified, global recognition, and of course they develop their computer skills, more computer savvy to research, because we know with the world, with the internet, if you know how to teach yourself, you can go online, you have access, like we saw earlier, to so much information and knowledge, you can teach yourself. So as a refugee school, we do have limitations, as you can see, funding, resources, our teacher quality, but ICT really helps us bridge that gap. We're able to hurdle over obstacles. Big obstacles now are not so big anymore. We can face situations. We're able to build stronger individuals in the refugee community, and they in turn can actually use everything online. They can use everything that's out there to motivate and to build themselves and to really be able to stand on their own 2 feet, because that's essentially what we're trying to do, to build stronger individuals, girls and boys, who are empowered with education, with knowledge, and that they can function in the world anywhere they are in the world, Malaysia and into their resettled nation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Deborah. That was fascinating. We've got one more speaker for you, as you think of some questions for all of our panelists. Amelia Gawa, why don't you come up while I introduce you, is from Impact Alliance, and she'll address an issue that we haven't yet raised in this panel. If access is one face of the coin, protection is often considered the other. Amelia is a policy analyst and officer in charge for child online protection at IMPACT, and IMPACT stands for the International Multilateral Partnership Against Cyber Threats. Over to you. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Yeah, we can begin? Yes. So I've just been introduced. I'm Amelia Goa from International Multilateral Partnership Against Cyber Threats. And what we do is that we are the key strategic partner for the International Telecommunication Union on cybersecurity. So if we could just have the slide, perhaps. The next one. Okay, thank you. So it's a bit, yeah, it's jumping. Okay, got it. So yes, this is what we have achieved so far. We started out in 2009 until now, and just that on the screen is a snapshot of what we've been able to achieve since then. And what I'm here to talk about today is mostly on child online protection. So I'll just give a background story. Growing up, my community, my family, was very much involved in my education and literacy. My very first book was Pride and Prejudice, given to me by my godmom. And secretly, all the people in that book were my friends. Now, I imagine that if I had had a Kindle at that time, I would probably be antisocial, because I'd be buried in a corner somewhere, trying to flip through more pages of more books, discovering and generally trying to improve my horizon on literacy and education. So that was then. So just so that you do not calculate how old I am now, we did have mobiles, but they were mostly used for communication. They were not used for social media, what we see now, the digital innovation and digital technologies. Fast forward to 2013, we have a fictional character, since I like fiction, called Susie. I'll call her Suka. Suka is short for Susie in my country. And Suka has just been enrolled in a digital e-learning school. And she wants to learn coding. She wants to be a programmer. She wants to expand her horizon as well. What happens is that she will enroll in this school. She has enrolled in this school, and she will go on to program. She will go on to learn. But she will also be exposed to conduct and content and commerce that will probably impede her growth online. She will expose herself to things that she would not have been able to see if she had not been exposed to the digital technologies. Now, in my culture, I do not know if you've heard this adage, it takes a village to raise a child. In my time, please don't calculate, the village was my family. In this time, the village is you. On the global community, Suka's common village would be yourselves, the very people in this room who are involved on social media, social networking, the very people who are actually enrolling her on that e-learning platform, seated probably in Canada, giving her more access to this information. And this is what Child and Land Protection really wants to draw attention to. The fact that girls and children can be empowered as they access ICTs and digital technologies online, but you as a global community also has a role to play in making sure that the growth of Suka online would be able to grow her as she becomes a digital innovator, an entrepreneur, a coder, a programmer, as you know, some of the amazing people seated behind me are. And this is what Child and Land Protection wants to see happen in different communities as we move on from technical measures, legal harmonization, international strategy workshops, and engaging different international experts to be engaged in this very conversation about girls and children and literacy. So that is basically what we do with Child and Land Protection. We go into countries and we engage different stakeholders, different experts in the conversation about digital technologies. While it surrounds the technical measures and the procedures, we also want to instill a culture of cybersecurity, instill a culture of digital responsibility and safe use of ICTs. And that's what Child and Land Protection is about. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Another round of applause for our fantastic panel. Does anyone have any questions for them? I have a question that I was wondering. You kept referring to where you're from. Where are you from?
I'm from Uganda.
Uganda has been part of our conversation a lot today in terms of ICT and what it's doing in terms of education platforms, some incredibly innovative things for girls and boys and in the entrepreneurial world as well. We're open for questions, but if there aren't any, I'm not going to push the issue. I know we've all had a very long day with a series of sessions starting as of early this morning. So let me, I'm actually not going to let you go away just yet. Sorry. I'm going to go back to code equality for just a moment. When you repitched your workshop, what is it that you did differently that made so many girls come to the most recent one?
So the only thing that differed was really just the marketing, the branding. I just say this is a workshop for ladies. That's it. And that makes all the difference. Branding, communication.
Did any guys show up?
So we had 15% of guys who applied, but we did tell them that this is a girls' event. Priority will be given for girls, so unfortunately we couldn't accommodate them.
Great, very good. Okay, Rani, I'm going to ask you a question as well because several people were very interested in your presentation. For those who are unconnected, so several of the speakers have given some fantastic, positive solutions for those who are connected. But how do we bridge that gap for those who don't have access either to mobile or to internet?
Yeah, for them, we actually work with NGOs, and they provide the environment. So, like we have like KYUSA in Uganda. They actually have a center with the IT and the internet and everything, and the youth actually come there to upskill themselves. Yeah, so that's how we bridge it at the moment. But we hope that with the mobile app, it will become more accessible to more people now. Yeah.
You can see me coming. I'm going down the line. Venus, it's your turn.
Yes.
International Literacy Day. We're in the process right now as a global community of redefining the Millennium Development Goals. Education attendance for boys and girls really has improved. It's true that we have a way to go, but we would be wrong, particularly in this country where actually girls outnumber boys in tertiary education, to acknowledge that. In terms of what's ahead with international standards on education, how do you see the challenge on education equity moving ahead, and what role does ICT have?
I see more of a challenge on international standards that are concerned with media issues and ICTs in general. Let me take you back a little bit in history to when the Millennium Development Goals were formed, and a little bit to the future where the goals will be reviewed and the post-2015 agenda will set forth a sustainable development roadmap or plan which will be based on an articulation of priorities that replace the Millennium Development Goals. When the Millennium Development Goals were crafted, neither media nor ICTs were an issue. These are issues that were buried, that were underground. It's not that they were not acknowledged or recognized, they just did not filter through the policy articulation and the demand-driven needs that were presented to world governments, and they just didn't make the agenda. And it's very clear that we run a risk that they will not make it to the agenda in 2015 unless there is an extremely strong force of advocacy by civil society, by students, by teachers, by people everywhere who know and understand how their government procedures work and who are able to influence them. Because ultimately, when the governments come together at the UN Secretary, at the UN General Assembly in 2015 to endorse whatever document has been drafted, that draft is not going to be drafted on the spot in New York. It will have been drafted by X number of countries, more than 196 countries, who will have then passed it through one cycle of review, 2 cycles of review. I mean, it's been going on for years. So there is one process that just took place in Bali a few months ago, and I'm disappointed in myself that I do not carry the declaration with me, because in that declaration there is a very, very strong motion for support for both ICTs and media development. And there is recognition in that document that has been endorsed by more than 250 civil society members and a number of countries as well. So there is progress, we are getting somewhere, but it's a long run, and events like this should take into account those big gaps that stop us from moving ahead with what we should be moving ahead with. And I hope that the declaration of this summit makes a recommendation to the UN General Assembly to endorse what will be required for ICTs, what will be required to bridge the digital gap, what will be required to bridge the media development gap.
Thank you very much. Gwen, you closed your presentation with a question to the audience, a challenge to the audience about what they'll do. Can I turn the question back at you and ask you, as an education activist, what's next for you? What challenge have you set for yourself?
Thank you for the challenging question. I think for me, after this year of basically just immersing myself in the education system and trying to figure out what we can do as outsiders, because let's face it, if you're not in the Ministry of Education, there's a typical misconception that you cannot do anything. But like what that NGO, Teach for Malaysia, has shown me, there's a lot that we can do simply in our own ways. And for me, the next steps would still to be understand more about the education system, because Socrates' saying rings true. The more I knew, the more I realized what I didn't know. And it's such a big, hairy, audacious goal to want to understand this problem that we have in Malaysia about our education system. But for me, the next steps is definitely to understand it better and to talk to more people about what we can do together.
Thank you very much. Deborah.
Thank you.
Is there a question from the floor? Otherwise, I'm just going to keep going down the line. Oh, great. Very good. Please.
Actually, my question is for Deborah or for Ronnie, either one. You've both made mention of MOOCs and using MOOCs to reach children who might not be able to access traditional schools or to reach students, and the possible certification of MOOCs and certificates they can gain. I was just wondering if you could give a bit of information about what types of certificates or what programs are available to them in that sense.
And if you can, before you answer your question, for those who don't know what MOOCs are, can you let us know?
Okay, maybe you can give a clearer definition of MOOCs, because we've only just started using that in the school. If you'd like to go, Rani.
Okay, MOOC is actually massive open online courses that are actually given, prepared by universities globally to people who like to actually upskill themselves. They are not actually degree programs or diploma programs. They're just subject-based and certificate level for a particular skill. Yeah.
Thank you. Well, we've just started one, and we're actually working with Taylor's Business School on this. We have the Taylor's Business students working one-on-one with our students to complete this course. It's a guide to basic business, and we thought that this would be very useful for our students, because many of them, to be honest, may not even go to university. So this is it's a 4-week to 6-week course that they can sit for and they complete, and when they pass, they'll get certification for it. And we like that they're not long, because, like I said, with the issue of resettlement, we never know when they're going to move, when they're going to leave. So a 2-month course is really ideal for us. Thank you.
Yeah. Can I add? Yes. Some of the certificate programs there, they don't actually give you a certificate as such, but they will send you an email to say that you have completed the program. So you can still show that to your employer, that you have done this program with a reputable university, then you have completed the program. Thanks.
Thank you very much. So I'm going to go to Amelia. You were the last speaker. You get the last question. When we talk about doing the equivalent of street-proofing our children, but online, you quickly get into a zone of how do you do that responsibly so that you do protect a child, but you don't go so far so that you start to shut down access to systems and potentially the freedom of access to some of the internet and the platforms, and quash the very creative and educational outlet that some of these platforms represent? How do you handle that when you do some of the work that you do?
Okay, so first of all, we have to acknowledge the benefits that ICTs and digital technology have on our community. And when we conduct the different workshops with the different countries or the different stakeholders, we take them through a process whereby they have to understand what the internet is. For starters, we go back to the basics. You understand what the internet is, you understand what the digital technologies are, what is happening on the innovative scene before you go into taking them through the process of how you actually protect the child online. We find that when we take this mode of discussion, when we open up the discussion to them, they're then able to apply the same principles as they use offline, then they can apply them online as well. We find that this opens their minds up to the fact that the internet is not bad at all. The digital technologies that they use are great for growth, instead of thinking about them on a fear-mongered basis. We try to avoid that kind of talk because we want to move towards a platform where we recognize that the internet is not going anywhere, and neither are digital technologies. And we are now embracing technology in the form of children's rights, assessing the impact of products and services on children's rights, and developing a safe environment for the children to thrive. So we want to create that balance. We do understand that most times there's a delicate line between access and privacy, or education and safety. So when we go back to the basics of understanding the technology and what it does for the community, then we're able to progress in the discussion.
Very good answer, and I'm going to avoid asking the question about who draws the line. If there aren't any, oh, there are. Yes, please. We're going to make this actually the last question because I know we've all had a long day, but
hello. Yeah, sorry for taking the last question. So I'm really curious about the running initiative on the internet school, sort of. So all I could understand is the initiative is almost all of this about to increase accessibility to education. So so I have seen the video, and it says that when we have the education in our hand, and it could encourage students or girls to go into education, and we could escape the the bad cycle of it. So, and one thing I'm really concerned is that when we have the education material in our hand, but what stops the children, the girls, to actually go study and to not go into getting married on the age of 15 years old? And I think the most important thing, one of the key things, is that the obstacle will be the mentality of the mindset. I mean, the mindset of the parents, and probably the environment and culture itself. Because a lot of times in these countries and these rural areas, having a girl in your family probably means money to the family, because you got to sell your family and sell your kids just to get money for your family to raise a child. And being in age of 14 or to 15, that age, we are basically under the guidance of parents, and we don't have our own choice and our freedom to choose what we want to do in our life. And how do we want to reach that? And I think one of the things will be the mentality, and what can we do about this? Thank you.
Thank you. It's quite a challenging question, but how I look at it is, you see, all along NGOs have been out there trying to solve this situation as well. But right now, what I have done is I've equipped them with a platform for the education needs as well. And when they actually use the platform and they empower the young girls, and the parents may accompany them, but whatever it is, when the young girls actually are exposed to these learning materials, their mind also is expanded. like Einstein said, once your mind expands, it will not come back to its original position, right? So slowly but surely we start the ripple, and then we'll see the change. But NGOs and all have to work hand in hand with the platform. The platform is actually to help you to empower and achieve your goals, at the same time achieve our goals. So together we can impact lives through education.
Yeah, if I could just add a little bit. I visited a very poor family living in a very small village in India. Parents with two children, two female children. And it's an Indian Muslim family. And the father actually said to us point blank, this community was working with a specific NGO. And the father said to us point blank, so you imagine Indian Muslim, very traditional, very conservative father. He said, if my daughter had not started going to this school that the NGO started, and had not done so well, and now the daughter was, I think at that point she was in university doing, I think she was doing computer science or something like that. Yeah, well, I don't know, hopefully coding. But he said, if my daughter hadn't gone on this path, she would be married with 2 kids by now. And just the fact that she started going to school, and as she got older and then college and then university, it changed the mentality. I mean, yes, his daughter changed, but the father saw the amazing benefits, just to put it frankly, of his children going to school, girls as well, and the financial security in the family. The house was a beautiful house. They were going to send their younger daughter following the same path. It was a world of opportunity and possibilities that were open to the parents. And to look at this man, not the wife, but the man, sit there with all of us and to share this with us like that, that just shows you the change, the shift, the amazing shift that can occur. And it was really because of his daughter going to school, as simple as that.
I think that's a perfect note on which to end this panel. So on your behalf, may I thank all of the panelists for your inspiring stories. And thank you all very much for joining this session. For those of you who are interested in seeing this again, it was inspiring enough to listen to a second time, the website www.talk.unicef.org is where this recording will be available. Thank you all very, very much.